Salut! Alors, if you're watching this video today, it's because your teacher has given you EBI17 on your assessment, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, because this is the most used EBI number we give out at GCSE. Agreement, which means adjectives change if you're masculine or plural. That's what agreement means. Agreement is one of the hardest things for GCSE. Like, the concept isn't hard, but the habit of remembering to agree everything for feminine, for plural, is what makes it really tricky for loads of reasons, really. First off, it doesn't exist in English. You don't have agreement, particularly of adjectives. So it's just something we naturally don't do, and you've got to train yourself to remember to do it in French. And the second thing is, when you're listening to French, you'll very rarely hear agreement, particularly on regular adjectives. So as you never hear it, you never really think about it, so you forget to do it. And a lot of French people, when you look at their writing, they forget their agreement all the time. So you're in good company, but that's no excuse for not getting it right. You are aiming for perfection. And it's the sort of thing that if your agreement's good and you show the examiner you do the basics really, really well, they're going to reward you with a top mark. It's just like football. If you're very well organized, you don't concede a lot of goals, and that's like your exam. If your French grammar is on point, on fleek, you're not going to lose any marks, and the examiner's going to give you a really high grade. So by the end of today's video, you should have mastered EBI17. This is one that will require a lot of practice. We're going to talk about some tactics. I'm going to go through the rules, but I'm more looking at tactics and strategies you can use that I used to make sure my adjectives started agreeing, and I started to get better at this when I was a student. Alors mes petits, right guys, so first thing to do today, you've got this EBI because you might not know all four of these key rules, or if you do know all four of these key rules, you're not using them. So what I want you to do is put me on pause now, read through these four questions. You've got a nice extra challenge as well. See if you can answer any. If you can answer 0, don't worry, you're in the right place. If you can answer them all, you still need to watch this video. You're not putting into practice your knowledge. Pause me now, see if you can answer any of these questions. Alors mes petits, right guys, let's work through these questions one by one and see what you've got. So what's the regular pattern for adjectives? So in French, the adjective needs to agree. That means it changes on whether the thing it's describing is feminine or plural. And the usual pattern we put for this is this one here. Have a look at this. I know you know this. So usually if we've got an adjective, if it's feminine, we add an E. If it's plural, we add an S. And if it's feminine and plural, you need both of them. And this is the general rule for most adjectives. While I've got you here, there's another thing you need to know about adjectives. In French, it's different to English. The adjective comes after the noun. So in French, if you said, I have blue eyes, they look at you weird and say, I have blue eyes. That sounds so strange. Don't you mean I have eyes blue? Because most of the time, your adjective will come after the noun. J'ai les bleus yeux n'existe pas. On dit j'ai les yeux bleus. So these are the two key rules that you've got to know for adjectives. Et voilà, right guys, so we've looked at rules 1 and 2. Put me on pause, see if you can answer them perfectly. If you can't, don't worry, just rewind and watch the last slide. If you can, we're going to look at our irregular adjectives now and how they act. This is where it gets a bit more advanced. Et voilà, so guys, we know that rule. For adjective, it has to agree. So what you do is you add an E for feminine, an S for plural, an ES if it's feminine and plural. Now that will work for a lot of adjectives, but for a lot of others, and some of the ones we use the most, like all of these nice adjectives down here, they're irregulars. They don't follow that pattern of adding an E for feminine, an S for plural, and an E and an S if it's feminine and plural. They change differently, they change completely, and I've got all the key ones I can think of GCSE that people usually use and get wrong here. So beautiful, old and new, we looked at these in year 8. We've got a song from, remember, just think Big Ben when it comes to these. Beau belle, vieux vieux, vieux vieux, beau belle, nouveau nouvelle, nouveau nouvelle. That's a little Big Ben chant that you can help you remember these 4 horrible adjectives. If you can show the examiner you can change these perfectly, they're going to be so impressed. There's other little patterns you need to know. The word kind is gentil, 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 gentil. It ends in this IL and it gets a double LE. This is what people forget. They put an E on the end. This changes completely, and a tiny change like that, if you get that right, the examiner will love it. There's other patterns as well, like ending in E in French for masculine, usually changes to us in feminine. So you've got sérieux, sérieuse, sérieux, sérieuse. Same with this. IF in masculine changes to Eve in feminine. So we got actif, active, actif, active. And remember, this is for like loads of different words. And then IF like sportif, sportive, sportif, sportive. Voila. And then finally, our last rule, if it already ends in an E in masculine, you don't add an extra one. I've seen this loads of times. Don't do it, it's wrong. So these are our irregular adjectives. There's no easy way to learn these. You've just got to sit down and learn them. I remember writing at this table, we would have done this more at A-level, writing at this table loads and loads and loads and filling it in. You've got some ways to help you remember. Bobel, bobel, vieux, 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 bobel, bobel, nouveau, nouvelle, nouveau, nouvelle. But apart from that, gentil, sérieux, actif, timide, you've just got to know these rules. Now, the worst thing as well is for some adjectives, I put all the ones I can think of here, they act differently. They come before the noun. Just these ones here. All the rest come after the noun, but just these adjectives here come before the noun. So you'd say Mr. Ennis est un homme bel. You wouldn't say that. You'd say Mr. Ennis est un bel homme. That's how you say I'm handsome in French. Hear that a lot when I go to France. So these are the irregular adjectives. What you might want to do is pause me now, copy them down, make it on a revision poster. You need to know all of these and how they change. Alors mes petits, right guys, so those are the 4 key things. This is where you've been going wrong in your assessment. So put me on pause, see if you can answer 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then I'm going to talk about the extra challenge. Alors mes petits, so this is purely extra challenge because if you want to know more, there's already a video on this. It's over here. If you watch EBI10, it'll explain all of this in detail, but you don't just need to agree. Do you remember what this means? Agreement is changing the adjective or a verb to match the thing doing it. Like if it's masculine, feminine or plural. You don't just need to agree. For adjectives, whenever you use the verb être, you need to agree the verb as well. And the most time we're going to see this at GCSE, but you'll also see it at the passive voice at GCSE and A-level. What was I saying? So what you need to do is the verb will change as well. Now it's just when you use être, you'll need to add an E for feminine and an S for plural. You guys have seen this before. Here's the ideal example with our verb aller. You know this. We always tell you add an E if you're feminine and an S if you're plural. It's just when you're using être verbs. Now this is extra challenge today. If you do want to learn more and have some detail about this, go to the EBI10 video and have a watch. Alors mes petits, right guys, so we've been through the rules. Let's see what you know so far. So put me on pause, see if you can answer 1, 2, 3 and 4. When you're ready for the answers, recommencez la vidéo. Alors, right guys, so let's go through it. The regular pattern for adjectives is E for feminine, S for plural, and then if it's feminine and plural, you need to add an E and an S. Adjectives, unlike English, usually come after the noun, the thing they're describing. So you'd say j'ai les yeux bleus, j'ai un pull bleu, j'ai des pantalons noirs. What do you call adjectives that don't follow our regular pattern? They are irregulars. But even though they're irregulars, they still have patterns to them that you'll see. You've got to be careful with beau, nouveau, vieux, grand, petit, gros, joli, because unlike what I just told you for question 2, these 4 come before the noun. They're irregular. And finally, your extra challenge, you need to use agreement whenever you use être with your verbs. Alors mes petits, dans les cahiers roses, vous avez 5 minutes et le cible aujourd'hui, c'est 3 choses correctes. Ici, j'ai 5 phrases et dans chaque phrase, il y a les erreurs. Le nombre ici nous donne le numéro des erreurs dans la phrase et c'est en jaune et c'est en gras et souligné aussi. Donc ici c'est l'erreur, ici c'est l'erreur, ici c'est l'erreur, ici c'est l'erreur, etc. Donc ce qu'il faut faire, Regardez la phrase et essayez de corriger l'erreur. Par exemple, on va faire numéro 1 ensemble. Nous avons une grande maison. Now you can see the problem because that sounds fun. If you said that in your speaking exam, no one would worry. Nous avons une grande maison. However, when you're writing it down, something's missing here. Grand is a regular adjective. It is une feminine, which is why I've put this in pink. So what is missing here? What do you usually add to our regular adjectives? If you're talking about something feminine, il faut écrire la lettre qui manque ici, et c'est la même chose pour chaque phrase. Pour vous aider, to help you out, I've just used some colors to get you thinking. This is the tactic I used to use. So you think, all right, so I've started in feminine, so this sentence is pink, so everything else has to be pink. Same here, this is green, so this is plural, so the thing I'm describing needs to be plural as well. This needs to be plural. And she, so I've put this in pink to remind me that when I'm talking and describing her, the adjective's got to be in feminine as well, and it is not. So use the colors to help you out. Now, this is really tough today. We've done the first one together. I want 3 questions correct. So you might get half marks if you get like 1 thing out of 2. If you can get 3 of these correct, you have done well and you've conquered EBI17. Any more than that would be an absolute bonus today. Do this in your pink books. You don't have to copy out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 incorrectly. I mean, you can if you want. That'll look really nice, but you don't have to. All I want is number 1 and put the adjective corrected, and then we'll mark it. So, vous avez 5 minutes. Put me on pause now. Have a go at this for 5 minutes. When you think you're done, when you think you've done all you can, restart the video and I'll go through the answers. Alors, bon courage mes petits. Put me on pause now. On y va. Alors, right guys, if you're listening to me now, it means you've given your best on these sentences and you're ready for our answers. So let's see what we got. We did do the first one together, but let's just show you how it works to get into your mind. Donc, nous avons une grande maison. This is feminine, so the describing word, our adjective, has to be feminine as well. It's regular. What do we add on the end? An E. So, une grande maison. Et voilà, this is 1 mark. Now, think about this when you're writing. Whenever you use une, keep the pink in mind and think, have I agreed? Has every word that has to agree got that agreement on it? Alors, numéro 2. C'était un peu plus difficile. Cette fois, elle dit, elle a les yeux verts et elle est assez petite. Again, that sounds fine. In the speaking exam, they never know that you've not got your agreement. Let's have a little look at what we've got. So the first bit, elle a les yeux. This is plural and masculine, your eyes. So if this is plural, the color's got to be plural. So you need an S on the end. Les yeux verts. You don't say it, but you've got the S. Then, elle est assez petit. You're describing elle. So the describing words got to agree. This is pink because it's feminine, it's she. So the petit needs an E on the end. Et voilà, elle est assez petite. Voilà, 2 marks for that. Well done, guys. Et la prochaine, alors, c'est plus compliqué maintenant. Mes beaux-sœurs sont bavardes. The 2 mistakes are here and here, right? This is a really, really nasty one, right? Because I'm using an irregular adjective here. Mes belles-sœurs. So your sister is feminine and it's plural. Look, there's an S on the end here and it's mes. Yeah, so this has got to be feminine and plural. How does it change? It goes beau, belle, with an S on the end. You need mes belles-sœurs sont. And then you're talking about your step sisters who are feminine as they're in pink and they're plural as they're in green. So think, okay, everything's got to be green and pink. Everything's feminine and plural. So our word bavard, it's got the S on the end, which is great, but it also needs an E as well because they're feminine. So add the E for their feminineness and the S for their plural, and that's what you should have. Mes belles-sœurs sont bavardes. And a sentence like that with this agreement, the examiner will absolutely love. That was a nasty one, number 3. Give yourself half marks if you got one of them. Alors, numéro 4 et numéro 5, I've put them together because they're basically the same, but I'm just talking about 2 different people to see, just to show you the change to the words and what it looks like. So, mon frère sont gentils mais sérieuses. 3 mistakes here. The first one is the mon. This has got to agree as well. So it goes mon for masculine, ma for feminine, and me. So it's MES, mes frères sont, and then your brothers are masculine and they're plural. So what do you need to add? For plural, you add an S. So mes frères sont gentils. Mes sérieux sounds like the English, but this is the feminine. What's the masculine form of this? With an X on the end. So this is masculine plural as well. So mes frères sont gentils. Mes sérieux. Perfect. So exactly the same sentence now, but this time it's for your sisters, so feminine and plural. So the mon, ma, mes, that's going to be the same. Mes sœurs sont gentilles, mais sérieuses. This has got to change to gentil with a double L-E-S, mais sérieuses with the S on the end. So you've got mes sœurs sont gentilles, mais sérieuses. And again, think about when you're writing a sentence in French, who you're talking about, whether they're masculine, feminine or plural, and that will help you remember what to do. I've used the colours here. I'm not saying colour in your assessment, but just think about it. I'm talking about mes sœurs, they're feminine and plural, so everything in the sentence has to be feminine and plural as well. Guys, excellent. If you got anywhere near these two, you've done really, really well today. Bon effort. Alors mes petits, right guys, so we've been through the rules. Let's see what you know so far. So put me on pause, see if you can answer 1, 2, 3 and 4. When you're ready for the answers, recommencez la vidéo. Alors, right guys, so let's go through it. The regular pattern for adjectives is E for feminine, S for plural, and then if it's feminine and plural, you need to add an E and an S. Adjectives, unlike English, usually come after the noun, the thing they're describing. So you'd say, j'ai les yeux bleus, j'ai un pull bleu, j'ai des pantalons noirs. What do you call adjectives that don't follow our regular pattern? They are irregulars. But even though they're irregulars, they still have patterns to them that you'll see. You've got to be careful with beau, nouveau, vieux, grand, petit, gros, joli, because unlike what I just told you for question 2, these 4 come before the noun. They're irregular. And finally, your extra challenge, you need to use agreement whenever you use être with your verbs. Alors, bon effort guys, well done for watching this video. It's long and it's complex today. You've done really well for getting to the end of it. Watch the next slide and it will talk about the next bit of your homework, which is your daily tests. Well done on this, bon effort. See you next time. À la prochaine fois, au revoir. Your next step is your daily test. So your French teacher will have set you this for your homework. You've got your daily test booklet. Do not write in the booklet. What I want you to do, step 1 is in your pink books, copy out this box, copy out all the questions, copy out all the answers, and then copy out the blank test next to it. Then you're going to revise all the answers here. So you're going to spend your time learning this, make sure you master it. Once you've got it, this is what I want you to do. Cover up the answers, make sure you can't see them, and then in the blank test that you've copied out, take out your red pen, see if you can answer all of these questions and see if you can fill in any boxes. Then once you've done that, uncover this and look at what you've done and mark up your work. What have you got right? What have you got wrong? And then have a look. This is the ideal bit. Rinse and repeat. Go back to the start. Revise the answers again and then test yourself again, and then revise again and then test again and then mark again and repeat until you've absolutely cracked it. And then if you've cracked it, say you started Monday and by Tuesday you know it off by heart, great. I bet you by Friday you will have forgotten it again. It's called a daily test because we want you to do it once every day, and the best students do this. Test yourself every day. If you can do it for 5 consecutive days in a row and get 100%, you've cracked it, you've got it, you've done it. So that is your homework for next time. Your extra challenge, guys, is to make a revision poster on this. So why don't you watch the video again, pause it, make a poster, make it look amazing, stick it up in your room or show it to your French teacher, show to make sure you've mastered this. This is EBI7. It is so important. Hopefully now you're happy and you can crack it. Thank you for watching. À bientôt. Au revoir.